What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So, out here in Colombia, walking around in the morning, and I've been getting a lot of people asking me questions about the being out here in Colombia. I told you guys I was going to be here for at least 90 days, and so people have a lot of questions. So I want to answer some questions today. So we're not going to do a regular Social Security update or anything, or I can actually do a quick update when it comes to Social Security. We'll see Congress come back next week, and when they come back, then hopefully they will start addressing some of the issues that we're facing right now. I think the biggest thing they're going to be looking at is the Build Back Better, some sort of big legislation. I was listening to, or reading a couple of articles and listening to some commentary about this whole situation. And one of the things that the White House is very, very, I'll say, disappointed in how Congress has really failed to support President Biden's agenda. And that's not all Congress, obviously. You have a select few politicians that refuse to go along with Biden's agenda. And that could be very, very detrimental in the midterms, and we'll have to see. But right now there's a lot of back and forth when it comes to that whole situation of supporting President Biden. So we'll have to see what happens in the future. But what I want to talk about today is, as far as Colombia, I did a video on my other channel. If you guys don't know, I have another channel, and I posted this video a couple months ago. And the question of, would I live in Colombia full time? I would, however, I'm not in a position to do that right now, just because I want to be home with family, and I can spend time here and then spend time in the US, kind of split my time. And so that's what's comfortable for me right now. Now, when it comes to doing that full-time thing, maybe in the future, I would consider something like that. There are a lot of people, anytime I post a video that talks about relocating, I always get a lot of people in the comments saying, hey, I live in the Philippines now, or I live in Colombia, or I live in Thailand. So there are a lot of people doing it, and a lot of people are doing it only on Social Security. They have no other means of income. Okay, so they're making it happen with $1,600 a month, or $1,500 a month, or $2,000 a month. So I know it's possible. I know it's possible here in Colombia. I have some friends here now that are doing that very same thing. Okay, I met a gentleman yesterday who came to Colombia 2 years ago. Met his wife, and he lives out here. And he bought a little sports bar. He's running that sports bar, and he's loving life. And I would say, I didn't ask him how old he was, but I would say he's pushing 60, if he's not 60 already. And so I like hearing stories like that, and I like to share those stories with you guys, because I just want you to know it's possible. It's possible to do, okay? And so let's get to some of the other questions that you guys had as far as me in Colombia. Traveling to Colombia, that's another thing. I hear a lot of people saying, well, how much does it cost? That would be too expensive for me to do. It depends on how you do it. If you use points, it actually depends on two things. It depends on how you do it, and depends on where you live. If you live in Florida, you can get to Colombia for $300, maybe $400. It's very close. Colombia is very close, about 2.5 hours away. So you don't have to travel very far. So that's good for people who live in Florida, people who live in that area. Texas as well. It's not too far from Texas. Probably be a little bit more expensive, but it's still very doable. Now, if you live in Southern California like me, or California in general, it's gonna cost you a little bit more money. But that's why I use travel credit card points. That's how I travel. And so it's not expensive for me. I'm doing it, I'm using points, and then I'm paying out of pocket maybe on this trip. This trip here, it was 20 bucks. $20 is how much I paid. That's a one-way ticket. Okay, so I booked a one-way ticket, and then I've already booked my ticket back. So, and that's only because I don't know exactly when I'm going back home. So if I book a one-way ticket home and a one-way ticket up, I can make adjustments a lot easier. Okay, I'm sure you guys can hear this guy out here. This is very, very normal, where you'll have a guy and he's selling lychee and pineapples. So, and he'll do that. He'll walk down the street. He'll make his way all the way through all these streets, and you'll hear him. Like I can hear him from my window. But so anyway, when it comes down to that travel to get to Colombia, if you're using travel credit card points, it's not very expensive. And I highly recommend, especially if you're in a situation where you're on a fixed income and you have a decent credit, get these travel credit cards, because you're spending money anyway. So if you're spending money anyway, you might as well be earning points when you spend that money. And then after a year, you'll have enough points to travel somewhere. You might not want to go to Colombia, you might not want to go to Thailand, you might just want to do a trip to go see family in the US. But at least you'll have that opportunity. And so I always recommend, as long as you're good with credit cards and you understand how the game is played, you pay that credit card off every month. You never carry a balance on the credit card, and you're gonna come out on top. That's a fact. That's the way things go. So that's how I get here. That's how I travel to anywhere that I travel to. That's how I'm doing it. Now, some of the other questions. Well, what is it like in Colombia? Is it the same as the U.S.? It's very, very similar. It's very, very similar to the U.S. You're gonna have the nice big malls. You're gonna have grocery stores that are just like grocery stores in the U.S. So a lot of that doesn't change. There are certain things that you're gonna have to deal with. If you look at the road here, it's not the best. You gotta watch where you're walking, stuff like that. In the U.S., especially where I live in Southern California, kind of planned communities, so you have nice sidewalks and grass and all that stuff. You're not gonna necessarily get that in Colombia. Certain areas you will. They do have planned communities out here as well, but it's just not as common as you would see in the U.S. So like even here, like there's a sidewalk here, so, but it doesn't go very far, and then you'll get back onto some rougher areas as far as the infrastructure. So that's one thing. It's kind of a trade-off. You're not going to get the best infrastructure here, but it's fine. For me, I'm fine with that. I don't have any issues when it comes down to that. Let's see, anything else that I missed? You guys ask a lot of questions about Colombia. As far as food, how much is the cost of things? Generally, it's not too expensive when it comes to food. It's always cheaper than the US, I'd say that. But you can go to a restaurant. Yesterday, me and a friend went to a restaurant, and it came to about 60,000 pesos. 60,000 pesos is about $14, something like that. Yeah, about $14. That's what it came to. That was for two of us. Drinks, and we went to a Mexican restaurant. And that's another thing about Colombia. They have food, all different types of food. So people ask me about what kind of food's in Colombia. Like, is the food good? Well, if you don't like Colombian food, and Colombian food is a little bit different than Mexican food. My opinion when it comes to Colombian food, it's not as spicy as I would like it. It just isn't. They're not big on the spices, and it's not some of the food that you eat in Colombia is pretty bland. So that's just something to know. But there's certain food that's really good. On the coast, I love the food on the coast. It's very, very good. It's fish. It's very flavorful. Fried fish is generally what they'll serve, but it's really, really good. That's one of the reasons why I like being on the coast. Right now I'm in Medellin, I'm not on the coast. But in Barranquilla, that's the coast. Cartagena, that's the coast. Riohacha, Palomar, or Palomino, I should say. Santa Marta, those are all on the coast. That food is excellent. And they have like rice, what do they call it? Arroz con camarones, arroz con pollo, just a variety of different rice dishes. And it's kind of like a fried rice, I guess you can compare it to that. But nonetheless, when it comes down to it, there are a lot of different things. I'm trying to find my way around here. There are a lot of benefits to living here. And there are a lot of reasons why people have moved here full time, because it just works all around. You're saving money. If you can save that money, you can invest more money if you're saving. So if I'm not paying in the U.S., what's the average rent? I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,300. Let's say you're in Colombia and you're paying $300, $400. Guess what? The rest of that money you can invest if you want to do that. And so there are just a lot of different benefits. I was just talking with a friend of mine, and I told her that in the U.S., for one night, if it's a nice hotel, one night, we all know this, it's $250 to $300. She was like, wow, that's crazy. I pay $300 for rent for the whole month. And so you can save a lot of money here, that's for sure, and get the same quality. And I'm gonna get back to food real quick, and then we'll wrap this video up. But when it comes to food, if you don't really like Colombian food, that's fine. You can eat Mexican food. They have Mexican food out here. They have Chinese food. They have anything you think of. My favorite restaurant out here right now on this trip is Arabian food. Arabi. Really good. Shawarma is the best shawarma that I've had, and that's period. So they do a really good job, especially in larger cities like Medellin and Bogota and Barranquilla. The larger cities, they're gonna have all different types of cuisine. Another thing they do well is pizza. They do a good job on pizza. So just wanted to put that out there. It's not that much different than what you would find in the US. And that's the reason that I like it here, and that's the reason why I keep coming back. That's the reason why I'm staying here for 3 months at least. And then from there, I might look into getting a visa, okay, getting an actual retirement visa, because that's what you would need in order to stay here. Retirement visa, it depends on how much money you make. On average, you need to make at least, basically what they do is they take the minimum wage. You need to make 3 times the minimum wage. Minimum wage in Colombia per month is about $250. So a person making minimum wage working in Colombia is earning about $250. You need 3 times that, so you need about $750 in order to qualify for a visa, and you just need to show. So you just need to show them that you have that money. So you need to show a bank account that shows that income coming in every month. This is another good restaurant here. This is a Mexican restaurant we ate at yesterday. Orale. Really good. Highly recommended. Very, very good food. Oh, of course they're closed right now because it's early in the morning. So when it comes to a visa, that's one of the qualifications. If you're retired already, you have to meet that qualification of $750. Now, that can adjust. Okay, it depends. Depends on when how much the minimum wage is. Now, if the minimum wage rises in Colombia, then you have to meet that requirement. But I think most people would be able to meet the requirement of $750. And if it did increase, it's not going to increase that drastically. That's just, I can't see that happening. So if people are earning $250 a month on average, it's going to stay that way, or it might even go up to $300. But if it goes up to $300, then that's still not that big of an increase. This is the other restaurant. This is the Arabian restaurant I was talking about. They're closed. Everything's closed. It's early morning, but really, really good food. That place, I eat there. I've already eaten there 3 times, and I've been here for a little over a week. So I will keep going back there. That is excellent food, and at a good price. Same thing. It's about $10. If you sit down for a meal, it's a little more expensive than the Mexican restaurant. About $10 for one person, but that includes a drink, and that includes like a entrada, like an appetizer. So an appetizer, the meal, and a drink for about $10. So it's really, really good price. So yeah, so the pension thing, and I don't know too much about pensions, so I don't want to go too much into that, but I just know a retirement visa, or retirement, if you have a pension, or if you're receiving Social Security, retirement qualification is $750 currently in Colombia. So, all right, I think that's all. I have for today. Just wanted to kind of do an impromptu talk about Colombia. We'll get back to the regular programming tomorrow, and we'll talk a little bit more what's going on. It's very, very slow right now in Congress because they are on recess, and we haven't heard much talk about anything coming up in the very near future. So we're just going to have to keep looking at what's going on there, and then in the future I can have more information for you. But please hit the like button. I really appreciate that. I'm doing this video as a premiere, and I'm trying to do as many videos as possible as a premiere. It just depends if the video is long enough. The video is at least, kind of right now I'm looking at the videos 14-15 minutes. That's a good video for a premiere. I don't want to do a short video for premiere, because then when you jump in, by the time you get in, the video is over. So I want to give it a little bit of time there. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys. I'm trying to get across the street, so let me pay attention. But make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell notification, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.